So in today's seventh section, we're going to talk about things to avoid. And the three things we're going to look at, the three categories, are profiteers, attitudes, and behaviors. So the first one we're going to tackle is profiteers. Any idea what that is? What a profiteer? Profiteer is somebody who's basically trying to take advantage of you, trying to get money out of you. Legally or even illegally, but obviously illegally we try to avoid by all costs, but even legally, people will try to take your money and get away with it. So the first thing, the most obvious one, is scams. And scams abound, and they're hard to kind of point out. Every scam, is a little bit different. There are some common elements, and one of the more common ones that people have heard of, you maybe even heard the term Ponzi scheme. It's named after a guy named Charles Ponzi back in like 100 years ago, who went around and he collected a bunch of money from a lot of different people and said, hey, this is the amount of money that you're making from it. He actually did it with stamps, but people now, people who are like investors, will take a bunch of money from somebody, tell them they're putting it into something like some sort of portfolio or stocks or whatever they're claiming that they're doing, and then send back a form, usually every month, that says, ooh, look how much your money has grown. So people are like, this is amazing. They start throwing more money at it and things like that. Meanwhile, that person's actually just spending all the money on themselves. And the only way that they can kind of keep going is that they keep trying to get more and more people in there, so it kind of keeps building up, and eventually it always collapses. You can only go so far. A very famous person who did this a few years back was a guy named Bernie Madoff, and he did it in the billions. And what was really very effective is that these people are very good at getting your trust. And you think to yourself, well, I'm not going to be scammed. I've heard of all the different scams, but I personally, as you guys recall, just recently was involved in something where I believe somebody was trying to scam me. I still don't 100% know. Because I didn't go all the way to the end. I didn't give them my money, which is good. But it looked, like something that was honestly a good deal. Like, man, this is a good way and good returns. Everything checked out. But then I had a friend tip me off, like, this looks a little bit like a common scheme, and I started looking up this specific scam on the internet, and sure enough, it was ticking every single box, like this, like down the road. This was the scam. And I just about, went all in, hook, line, and sinker on this. And so even though I feel like I'm a fairly intelligent guy and pretty savvy with finances and things like that, I still felt like I was close enough to being prey to a scam. And so what's interesting with a lot of these, like these Ponzi schemes and things like this, it's not, grandma down the road who's got no clue. They get scammed for other reasons, but it's usually people, interestingly enough, who are in the finance industry. It's a very common target. People in the middle-age category who feel like they really know their business, and it almost preys on their knowledge, and kind of it works that against them. So scams are out there. Be very careful. If you ever have any questions, come back to me or talk to somebody. But the internet's a wonderful resource. And in this particular scam, I was able to trace it back that one of the major players in this was attached to a person who'd been doing scams like this. So once I saw their names together on the internet, I'm like, oh, that's good enough for me. And I was out. Some of these things have kind of some common themes you can look for. Like, for example, they'll be word of mouth. You won't hear about it on advertising. They don't have a website. They have almost no web presence. Is usually a common way because they don't want to leave any fingerprints behind. And it's almost like this is a really good deal that, oh man, I know somebody who knows somebody kind of deal. So those are kind of some of them.